Welcome everyone. Previously we discussed about the concept of forfeiture, reissue, and we have discussed additional adjustment case where the company is reissuing only a part of the forfeited shares. In that case, the amount of balance from the forfeiture account that has to be transferred to the capital reserve, its computation is different to the case which we have discussed previously. And in the last class we discussed about the forfeiture of shares that were once issued at premium and they were reissued at a discount after the forfeiture. So let us discuss another case when shares originally issued at premium and reissued at premium and the cases. Shares originally issued at premium and reissued at premium. Sometimes the company might have issued their shares initially at premium, and during the collection of any of the subsequent installments, shareholders, any of the shareholders or number of few shareholders might have failed to pay any of the installments, and ultimately the company forfeited those shares, and after the forfeiture, the company might have reissued the same. And here we are discussing the situation where the shares which were once issued at premium were reissued after the forfeiture again at premium. So that is a situation which we are going to discuss. In the question, they may not specify anything about the issue or the forfeiture at premium or discount. It can be logically understand from the face value or the price of the share. From that, we can easily understand whether it is issued at premium and whether it is reissued at premium also. So let us go directly to a case. X Limited forfeited 150 equity shares of 10 each issued at a premium of rupees 5 per share held by Anand for non-payment of allotment money of rupees 8 per share including premium of rupees 5 per share. The first call of rupees 2 per share and the final call of rupees 3 per share. Out of these, 100 equity shares were reissued to Mohan at rupees 14 per share. So first of all, let us pass the journal entry for the forfeiture. Here the person failed to pay the allotment money, so we have to show the details of the premium amount in the forfeiture entry. So the entry will be equity share capital account debtor, share securities premium account debtor to share forfeiture account to equity share allotment first call and final call. Here there are 4 installments and he only paid 1 installment. So how we have received or we have computed all these amounts. First one, how many shares the company is going to forfeiture? 150 shares of 10 each. So equity share capital is 150 into 10, 1500. What was the premium amount? Issued at a premium of 5 per share. How many shares were forfeited? 150. So 150 into 5, 750. Next one. What was the total number of shares that were actually paid by the particular shareholder? He only paid application amount. Here the application amount is not mentioned in the question. You can easily find out the amount because the total value of share is 10 and including premium it is 5, so total it is 15. And here we have details of allotment 8 and first call is 2, so 8 plus 2 12 and final call is 3, 8 12 plus 3 8 plus 2 10 and 2 plus 3 that is 10 plus 3 that is 13 and total value of share is 10 plus 5 15. Here there is details regarding 13 only, so the balance is rupees 2. So we can assume that the application amount is rupees 2 per share. So share forfeiture is 150 into 2 300 and he didn't pay the allotment amount. Since we have considered the premium amount, here you have to show the total amount of allotment, that is allotment amount plus premium. So 150 into 8 1200. Next one, first call is rupees 2, 150 into 2 300 and finally last one, final call is 3, 150 into 3 450. Forfeiture of 150 equity shares of rupees 10 each issued at a premium of rupees 5 per share for non-payment of allotment First call and final call. Subsequently, the company has reissued these forfeited shares, and out of 150, the company is reissuing only 100 shares, and even that is issued at rupees 14. So don't consider like earlier it was 15, now it is 14, so it is actually issued at a don't think like that. You have to consider on the basis of the face value of the share. Here the face value is 10. Like that only you have to consider whether it is issued at premium or at a discount. Don't consider like it was earlier issued at 15, now it is reissued at 14, so how can we say that it is reissued at premium, it is reissued at discount? Like, don't think like that. You have to consider always whether it is issued at premium or discount on the basis of comparing the issue price with the face value of the share. Here the face value is 10. It is already given in the question. So next one, the journal entry for the issue is bank account update to equity share capital, account update to security premium. Remember, until previous cases we have discussed the journal entry for the reissue will be bank account, forfeiture account to the equity share capital, because in those cases the company has reissued their shares at discount. In this case we are discussing the reissue case where the company reissued their forfeited shares at premium. So that is why there is a change in the reissue entry. So entry will be bank account. 100 shares were issued at rupees 14, so 100 into 14, 1400. And with regard to equity share capital, you have to show the face value 100 into 10,000, and here the face value is 10, it is reissued at 14, so the excess is 4, we can assume it as premium. So security is premium, 100 into 4, that is 400. Narration: 100 shares out of 150 forfeited reissued at rupees 14 per share, including premium of 4 per share. So this is how you have to pass the entry when the reissue occurs at premium. So remember the entry for the reissue at premium. And finally, the entry for the forfeiture means the transfer of amount from forfeiture to the capital reserve. The entry will be the share premium amount of Anand share is returned back as it has not been received by the company. This is here the note is given with regard to this forfeiture. Why we consider the premium amount? Because the person didn't pay the premium installment. That is why we have shown the premium in the forfeiture entry. That is given in the note. And finally, the forfeiture entry, share forfeiture account update to capital reserve. Here the computation of two entries is also the method which we have followed in the previous case. Just like you have to follow the steps in the previous case, just like that. See, here there is only one forfeiture, that is with regard to 150 shares. Here in the case of reissue there is no such forfeiture because it is reissued at premium, so no forfeiture with regard to forfeiture or any discount amount will be there with regard to reissue at the time of premium. So we have to consider only this one. See, you can't simply take this 300 here because 300 is with regard to 150 shares. The company has reissued 100 shares out of this 150, so you have to show the actual forfeiture amount with regard to 100 shares. And how we are going to find the forfeiture amount? That is very easy. Out of 300 rupees had been obtained with regard to 150 shares, though the company has gained a rupees 2 on each shares, that is 300 divided by 152. So for one share the company has gained a rupees of 2. And how many shares were issued by the company? 100 shares. So 100 into 2, 200. It is just as easy as the case which we have discussed previously. In the previous case it was quite tricky, but in this one it is very easy. You have to think logically. Here the company is reissuing only 100 shares, and out of one share the company has gained rupees 2 for the forfeiture of those 150 shares. So the company has gained rupees 200 with regard to forfeiture, and this amount is transferred to the respective capital reserve account. So this is how you have to deal with the entries with regard to forfeiture, and when it is at a premium, and when the forfeiture is reissued at premium, and subsequently the amount that has to be transferred to the capital reserve. So next area which we are going to deal is surrender of shares. We are actually coming towards the end of this module. Actually, surrender of shares is just like the concept of a forfeiture. As the name suggests, here the concerned shareholder is surrendering their share because they are not going to continue their installments in future. So they will approach the concerns to surrender. They will inform that they are going to surrender their shares. They need not have to continue their installments. The company can either cancel it or not. That's up to a discretion of the concern. Anyway, it is just like a forfeiture concept where in forfeiture the shareholder is not paying the installment amount, and subsequently company is forced to cancel their shares. But in surrender of shares, the shareholders, particular shareholders, approaches the concern voluntarily to cancel their shares. They approach the concern and request the concern to cancel their share because they need not have any interest in continuing their further installments or whatever it is. That's up to their discretion. They voluntarily approach the concern to cancel their shares. That is known as surrender of shares. So let us discuss the theoretical aspect. Surrender of shares means voluntary return of shares by the shareholders to the company for cancellation. It is a voluntary action. Company can accept such shares only if such shares are likely to be forfeited for non-payment of calls and articles so provided. That depends upon the legal provisions of the concern. It may be noted that the forfeiture is an action on the part of the company, while surrender is an action on the part of the shareholder. We have mentioned right now. The surrendered shares become property of the company and can be reissued at the discretion of the board of directors. The company may pay some compensation on shares surrendered. In some it is quite rare situations the company might pay the compensation. In most of the cases, the company won't pay compensation because it was a voluntary action from the part of the shareholder to surrender their shares. That is why the company need not have to pay any compensations. Once it is surrendered, it is just like a forfeit. Actually, the surrender of shares, actually, the only thing is there is a difference in names. One is forfeiture, another is surrender, but the concept and computation and generally that has to be passed for the two situations is exactly same. The only difference is the change in the title. One is known as forfeiture of shares, other is known as surrender of shares. From the accounting point of view, there is no difference between forfeiture and surrender of shares. Entries to be passed for the surrender of share are also similar to that of a forfeiture of shares. So, in the examination, if you come across a question where certain shares of a company is cancelled because the certain number of shareholders have surrendered their share, don't get confused that we haven't learned anything like that. Don't worry, even if it is a case of a surrender or if it is a case of a forfeiture, the entries for both situation is same, because in the surrender case also, here the shareholders voluntarily approach the concern to cancel their shares. Company will cancel their shares on the basis of their request. Those cancellation is known as forfeiture. So there is not much of a difference. So whenever you come across a question case with regard to surrender of shares, just pass the entries which we have discussed at the time of forfeiture. There is not much of a difference. So next one, distinction between forfeiture and surrender. It is almost similar. Anyway, there is some sort of differences. Let us go through it. First one, with regard to meaning. In case of forfeiture, it means compulsory termination of membership by confiscating shares. Here one of the shareholder or some of the shareholders won't pay any of the installment or failed to pay any of the installments, and ultimately the company has to cancel their shares. That is known as forfeiture. In surrender, it is a voluntary return of shares by the member of the company. Some shareholders approach the concern and request the concern to cancel their shares. Either they may not be interested in continuing their installments or some other reasons. That depends upon the situation. Anyway, that is a voluntary action. What is the purpose? With regard to purpose, there is a difference. Forfeiture is a penalty to the member for the non-payment of the amount of call. That is why the company is cancelling the shares. Whereas in case of surrender of shares, surrender is done to avoid the long procedure of the forfeiture. So that is with regard to the difference. Whatever may be the situation, in surrender of shares, all the company might have to pass the entries for the forfeit. If the company is going to reissue those surrendered shares, definitely the company has to pass for the procedures for the forfeiture. Forfeiture of shares is a compulsory action because the company has to take necessary legal precautions or steps with regard to the forfeiture, and surrender of shares is actually a voluntary approach from the part of the shareholder. Forfeiture is done in the case of partly paid shares. Actually, forfeiture comes in the case of partly paid of shares. We have discussed numerous cases whereby some shareholders might have paid application and allotment, failed to pay first call and final call, or some might have paid application, but some might didn't pay allotment or subsequent calls. Likewise, so it is always occur in case of a partly paid shares. In surrender, the situation or surrender of shares happen either in fully paid shares or partly paid shares. Fully paid shares means sometimes the shareholder might have paid all the installments, but they did not want the shares of the company. Sometimes in that situation they might surrender their shares. That is known as fully paid shares. And finally, forfeiture of shares is a lengthy procedure. Even though we have passed only 3 entries, it is the computations will be quite tricky and difficult when the company is only reissuing a proportion of the forfeiture share. And the forfeiture of the shares also is quite tricky. Here we are discussing only easy cases. That is why you may find it easy. But in the actual business, the procedure for forfeiture is quite lengthy, and basically it is a time consuming process because there is certain time duration for intimation and waiting for their request. Likewise, there are many procedures, so it is a lengthy procedure, whereas surrender of shares is a very easy and simple procedure because it is a voluntary action. So these are the basic differences between forfeiture and surrender. So let us go to the next one. Issue of preference shares. With regard to issue of preference shares, there is not much of a difference, just like the cases which we have discussed, because we have discussed in many cases with regard to issue of equity shares or shares. There is not much of a difference. The only thing is that in the question there will be details of preference shares. So instead of writing the equity shares, you have to show the name of the preference shares. It may be 8% preference shares or 12% preference shares or certain type redeemable type of preference shares that may be mentioned in the question. You have to carefully write the name of that particular in the each of the subsequent installment. That is the only difference. All the entries with regard to the issue, forfeiture and reissue all are same with regard to preference shares. Only thing is, in the question instead of equity shares they might have used preference shares. The formalities and the steps for issuing preference shares are almost the same as that of issuing equity shares. The equity preference share capital also is collected through application money, allotment money. There will be first call, second call, final call, just like the cases which we have discussed previously. So let us go through a simple case for the familiarizing. On 1st August 2017, the XYZ Limited issued 2,08,000 redeemable preference shares of 10 each, payable 3 on application, 4 on allotment, 3 on first call. All the shares were fully subscribed, called up and paid up. Give the necessary journal entries in the books of the company. It is very easy. Just pass the entries which you have learned in the cases previously. Instead of writing equity shares or the shares you have mentioned in that question, in this situation you have to show 8% redeemable preference shares. Rest of the entries all are same in these cases also. So the time being, let us go through it very swiftly. The format of the journal entry, I believe you all know the journal entry because we have almost completed one module discussing a number of cases with regard to preparation of journal. So follow the format. First one, when the company receives application money, bank account up to, remember to write the name correctly. 8% preference share application account. Don't write equity share or like that because we have discussed many cases with regard to equity share. So don't go directly write equity share. Whatever the name given in the question, write that name correctly. And here the total number of shares is 2 lakh. Application is 3, so 2 into 3, 6 lakhs. Don't forget to pass the narration. Next is the due entry, 8% preference share application account debted to 8% preference share capital. You have to show these names correctly. Even though the question is very easy, but you have to show the names correctly. Amount 6 lakh, though there are no further adjustments, show the narration. Next one, 8% preference share allotment account debted to preference share capital, 8 lakh again. Show the narration. After that, you have to pass the payment entry, bank account debted to 8% preference share allotment account, 8 lakhs. After that, next one, first and final call, 8% first and final call account debted to 8% preference share capital, 3 into 2 lakhs, 6 lakhs. And finally, the payment entry, bank account debted to 8% preference share first and final call, 6 lakhs. So it's very easy to pass the entries with regard to preference share capital. Sometimes you may come across a question where a question regarding a redeemable preference share or whatever preference share will be given, and in the same question you will be dealing with the adjustments which we have discussed previously. So don't worry anything about it, just go through the adjustment cases we have discussed in the equity shares. The same procedures is also followed in this situation, only the thing is you have to change the names of the capital. If it is with regard to 8% preference share, give it like that. If it is equity shares, show it like that. Whatever it is given in the question, mention like that. Don't consider that we have discussed only the adjustments in case of equity share. We haven't discussed anything in case of preference shares. So how we are going to, there is nothing like that. All the adjustments and steps which we have done in the case of in the equity shares or capital is also applicable in case of preference share capital. We are not going to discuss separately for the entire module. If we want to discuss this preference shares, means adjustments with regard to preference shares, we have to spend another 1 month or 2 months for the discussing the same computations which we have discussed in case of equity shares. There is not much of a difference. The only thing is they change in the name. So go through the adjustments which we have discussed in the equity share capital account or capital accounts also. The same will be applicable in here also. The only thing is change in the names. Earlier it was equity share capital, now it is preference share capital. That is the difference. So don't confuse by seeing a question where all the adjustments in a preference share capital. The adjustments and steps is almost similar to the cases which we have discussed in the equity share capital. That same adjustment has to be followed in this situation also. So I am not going to further explaining it again and again. So go through it. So let us go to the next one. Issue of shares for consideration other than cash. In the beginning of this module, we have discussed and mentioned about the concept of issue of shares for consideration other than cash. If you have any doubt regarding that, go through it, but we will discuss again some minute adjustment cases with regard to the situation. For the time being, I will just give a brief introduction regarding that. Sometimes the company may purchase or conduct some sort of transactions with the outside parties, and for example the company might have purchased a certain fixed asset from the outside party. So for the purchase of fixed asset, the company definitely have to pay for the purchase, but instead of paying in cash, the company might have issued share capital or shares, either preference shares or equity shares, that depends upon the question. So for purchase consideration, they provide equity shares instead of cash. That is known as issue of shares for consideration other than cash. For example, if I own a company, I want to purchase a land from certain party for 50 lakhs. So instead of paying that party 50 lakhs, I might have issued 50 lakh worth of equity shares of my company. That is the concept. So let us discuss a simple case. X Limited acquired a land worth 30,000 for which the vendor or then whatever the name of the person is given equity shares of 10 each at a premium of 20 per share so as to meet the consideration. Give the entries in the books of the company. So X Limited purchased 30,000 from Naresh. Instead of cash, the company paid equity shares worth rupees 10 at a premium of 20 per share. So total amount worth of shares is 30 lakhs. 30 lakhs means including premium. So what were the number of shares issued by the company? That is a slight adjustment which we are going to discuss now. That is why we are discussing the issue of shares for consideration other than cash. That topic again. So, first of all, the entry is the entry for the purchase of fixed asset. The entry will be land account up to from whom the purchase was made to Naresh. If the name is not given, you can directly write to vendor. So land account up to Naresh, the value of the asset is 30 lakhs. Agreed purchase price is brought into record is 30 lakhs. So the company is going to pay the 30 lakhs in the form of issue of shares. And remember, in the issue of shares, the company consider the value of share plus premium. So you have what were the number of shares actually issued by the company. For that, there is a small equation is there. To find out the number of shares issued, it is very easy. What is the total value of the asset? Total value of the asset is 30 lakhs. 30 lakhs plus agreed value. Agreed value means, for finding out the total number of shares, agreed value means face value of the share plus discount if there is any premium if there is any discount, face value minus discount. Since it is issued at premium, face value plus discount, that is 10 plus 20. So 30 lakhs divided by 30, 1 lakh shares. So the company has issued 1 lakh worth of shares, and the price of one share is 10, and it was issued at a premium of 20. So that is how the company has met the payment of 30 lakhs. So the entry will be to Naresh, the company has paid amount of 30 lakhs. And how it is paid? Share capital worth of 1 lakh into 10, 10 lakhs, and a premium to security premium 1 lakh of rupees 20, 20 lakhs. That is how the company has paid the premium. So in order to write down these amounts separately, you have to find out how many shares were issued. For that, you have to use this equation. That is why we have discussed this topic again. I believe you have understand the concept of issue of shares for consideration other than cash. And remember, in some cases, we will discuss about that case. Uh, at the time of formation of companies, usually some shares are issued to vendors, just like the person Naresh, vendors of the properties such as land, building, machinery, fixed assets, some sort of fixed assets, etc. In such cases, the assets acquired are to be debited and the share capital is to be credited. That is why we have passed the necessary entries. So don't forget to pass the entries with regard to the payment for consideration other than cash. There is only two entries, one for the purchase entry, other for the purchase consideration entry. If there is any premium, consider it, and for finding out the number of shares, there is a separate equation for that. Go through it, familiarize it. We will discuss about some more adjustment with regard to issue of shares for consideration other than cash in the coming sessions. Until then, go through it. If you have any queries, please let me know. We will discuss about the further cases in the coming sessions.